Welcome back, everyone. We're going to look at a moving truck rental inequality, and in this scenario, we will be figuring out how to make one a better deal than the other. That's the big idea here. So let's read this scenario. A family is moving from California to Idaho, and they are trying to determine if it would be better to rent a Penske or a U-Haul. Penske and U-Haul are two different companies for moving trucks. And so the Penske costs $109 per day plus 70 cents per mile. The U-Haul costs $70 per day and 90 cents per mile. We want to determine how many miles the Penske would need to be driven before it is a better deal than the U-Haul. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this last sentence because this defines the inequality and how we will set it up. We want Penske to be cost less than U-Haul. So the cost for the Penske needs to cost less than what the U-Haul would cost, and that will depend on how many miles we drive them, because notice that the cost per mile is not the same, and neither is the rental. So they have very different scenarios. We're first going to list the Penske costs, $109 for a day, plus 70 cents per mile. And I'm just going to write M for miles here. Don't get confused by that with slope or anything like that. It's just a letter representing the distance traveled. We want that cost, that daily cost, to be less than the $70 per day for rental plus 90 cents per mile. To solve this inequality, we're going to take the cost per day off both sides. So I'm going to bring anything with M, the miles, to the left, and anything that is the daily fee to the right. So first, let's subtract 90 cents times M from both sides. And you might be thinking, why am I doing that? And the reason for that is I want my letters to be on the left, so my inequality points in the direction that it is true. You don't have to do it that way, but that is the way that makes the most sense for graphing. And I'm also, at the same time, you don't have to do it in the same step, but it is convenient because then it's all done at once. Subtract 109 from both sides. I changed colors there so that you can see it's two separate steps, and then from there I'll have the 109 be equal to 0 on the left and negative 39 on the right. Also, the 90 cents times M goes to 0 on the right, and it is equivalent to negative 20 cents times M on the left. Now, I've only added or subtracted terms here, so my inequality stays pointing to the left. However, our next step is to divide by a negative 0.20 on both sides, and that will change the direction of the inequality. I'll go ahead and highlight it just so we remember that step. This will give me M is greater than, and now we need to figure out what this actual number is going to be. We'll take negative 39 and divide it by negative 0.20, and we have 195. So remember, what does 195 represent? That represents the number of miles we need to drive the Penske so that it is now a better deal than the U-Haul. So this is telling me that as long as I drive more than 195 miles each day, I will have a better deal with the Penske than I do with the U-Haul. We can double check this by substituting those numbers back in. You're welcome to do that on your own.